All right, thanks everybody for joining the Python Essentials 26.2 class orientation. Thank you for getting your registration done and turned in. We're excited to have you in class. The class name is Python Essentials 26.2. Those of you returning, you'll notice that there's no animals or fish or critters in the name. We do have a lot of exciting changes this year in Code the Dream classes, and among that is the class naming convention. We are starting to move to a hopefully more logical process of knowing what classes were taken when. So the class will always be your class name, the course you're taking, followed by a 2-digit year of the year that you took it, and then a period, and then the quarter that you're taking the class in. April starts the second quarter of the 2026 year. So your class is 26 for 2026.2 for the second quarter. The classes that you're going to take in summer after you graduate this class will be the Python AI and Cloud Computing 26.3 class, because that will start in July, the third quarter of the year. The second change to the program I want to highlight is registration. A lot of you just went through the registration process in a very condensed amount of time after graduating intro. And we are not going to have that tight of a turnaround for the coming terms. Administratively, that's a little hard to manage. So we will have you registering for your summer classes during May. So in the middle of this class, you'll go ahead and register in advance for your summer class. And we will have more details about registration leading up to May. We do have reminders of that May registration period that will be in your class announcements channels and other things that we'll cover later tonight as well too. All right. So right now we are starting our orientation. You've completed registration. Up next that you're looking at is going to be what's called week 0. This happens from March 25th to the 31st. You're going to review class information. You can review our recording tonight. Get yourself comfortable with all of your tools, know where everything is, so that way you'll be ready to start the class when the coding work begins with lesson 1 on April 1. We will have office hours with Dan, Tom, and myself available during this week 0 time frame. So if you do have questions or need support, you can reach out to us during that time frame. There's no coding work the week of the 25th to the 31st. Just get familiar with your tools and your resources. You will have an assignment though. It helps us make sure you know where to locate everything for class. So be sure to turn in that very, very short little week 0 quiz type of assignment that lets us know that you know how to find your mentors, your mentor schedule, your class lessons, all of those good things. And again, that class officially begins April 1st with your first coding and lesson assignment. Our agenda tonight is going to be covering a little bit about your class, who all is in it. And then beyond that, we'll cover your class tools, what's expected of students in our program, and then what resources are available to you. Throughout this presentation tonight, if you have questions, feel free to unmute and ask. You can utilize the chat as well too, if that's easier for you. We will have questions and answers at the end as well. So use whatever winds up working best for you. Okay, let's dive right in so that we don't have you here until the wee small hours of the day. Okay, you've seen this slide before. It was in the welcome videos, or you've seen it in a previous class. The main thing is the structure of class is going to give you an idea of who do you turn to for what kind of help. So all of your mentors, the one-on-one mentors, group session mentors, assignment reviewers will be available for you for technical help with, my code's not working. What do I do? This is having a problem. Can you help me work through this? All of those kinds of questions. Above that are your cohort leaders, Tom and Dan, who I'm going to introduce here in just a minute. And they are kind of like a department head. They can help you with, I'm falling behind in class, how do I catch up? Or I need to step back from class for a little bit, or I'm going to be working ahead. Can you make sure my reviewer can keep pace with me? Things of that variety. Even if you ask the wrong person, they can help get you to the right person. But if you don't ask, then you'll never get an answer. So if there's things that you need help, communicate with us, communicate with each other. The more questions you ask, the more answers you get. Okay, let's meet your cohort leaders. The cohort leader role in your class is to oversee a section of the class. So you'll either be assigned to Dan or you'll be assigned to Tom. And I'll be sharing a link here in a moment so that way you can see who you're with. They are available for you to be able to keep you on track, make sure everything's going well. They're going to check your student progress from week to week. If you are slipping behind, they'll reach out to see what additional resources will help get you back on track that we can supply. Even if you're not struggling or falling behind, if you're going to be a day or two late on your assignment, just talk to them and let them know what's going on. So that way they are aware and know that it's just a time thing and that it's not you need more resources available to be able to help you with understanding kind of a thing. They are technical in nature and very knowledgeable and capable in the technical aspects of your class, but they are more administrative. So reach out to mentors and assignment reviewers for those technical questions. But if you have questions about a tool or a resource, access to a tool or a resource, catching up if you're behind, if you're going to be absent, things like that, then definitely reach them out. Direct message on Slack is the best way to be able to reach your cohort leaders. I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves. Tom, would you like to go first and say a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Let's see. I've been with Code the Dream for about 3 years now. I taught several. I taught several intro classes, and this is my fourth time around with Python 100. Um, I've been retired for a few years. My last job was at a machine learning hardware company, and I had a 41-year career at various hardware and software companies, specialized mostly in electronic design automation software. So what would I say about the class? I'd say Python is really exciting. It has found its way to being sort of the universal glue language for all kinds of things. That's probably because it got nice libraries like NumPy built into it. And then that led to it being adopted for nicer and nicer libraries. Now it's sort of got this critical mass of really great libraries and modules and packages, and tends to get used for all kinds of things. But most importantly, it is sort of the glue for machine learning and AI. So a great thing to learn about. We focus in this first class on data engineering, the idea being that data is the fuel for AI. Um, Tons of data is needed to train all these models, and a pretty reasonable entry level job is to be working on conditioning that data and getting it ready for AI training. So we teach a lot about data cleaning and data manipulation and data analysis. So beyond that, I would say it's going to be an intense class. It's shortened down to 11 weeks. There's a lot packed in there. Um, and The other thing I'd say is just you'll get out of it what you put into it. So, in other words, the certificate from the class is not going to get you a job by itself, but the things that you learn from the class will help you in interviews and may well help you find a position. But you get out what you put in. So, the more work you do, the better, the more that you learn and take away and practice from the class. And since I brought up AI, resist the temptation to let AI do the work for you. You can do that later once you know what the AI is supposed to be doing. Um, for now, it's really much better to struggle through things on your own. AI is nice for looking up things like what was the name of that method that I forgot about? That's perfectly cool use of AI. Write my code for me is not, you're kind of wasting your time with the class if you're just going to have AI do your code for you. So, and you want to really develop the understanding first yourself before you use automation. Um, so I guess that's all I would have to say. Welcome to the class. Excited to have you, and it's really got a lot of cool content.
Great. Thanks, Tom. Now we're going to hear from Dan, who is also a cohort leader with your class.
Hello, my name is Dan. I started with Code the Dream in October of 2022. And since then, I've kind of been in everything except for the Ruby course. I think this is my third time with Python 100. And I currently use Python day to day. So I have a small software company and I do basically freelance stuff. I actually just consulted with another software company this week using the skills that you'll learn in this class. So I was talking to them about cleaning data and doing a lot of data analytics on their TMS system, which is used for trucking. Basically, they track shipments and stuff like that. So creating like a data warehouse and then using pandas and NumPy and all the stuff you learn here to create data visualizations for their customers. And they use mostly TypeScript and stuff like that to create an application. So you will be learning real world applicable skills. Also, I would say every single one of my clients ask me about AI. So any of the knowledge you learn in relation to AI will be helpful. And I use all of that stuff with also the skills of React and Node to put all of that together into products that I sell to clients. So take it very seriously and just try not to fall behind in this class because you'll be getting a lot of information, but it's all very, very useful information. So like Mary Alice said before, reach out if you need any help. I'm always available. I don't care if you message me at 1 in the morning. I might not respond at 1 in the morning, but you'll never bother me reaching out. And I would rather you ask a question than not ask a question and fall behind or, let something that we can fix quickly be a major blocker for you. So please feel free to reach out. And yeah, Python can do everything. I'm building a application right now for somebody that scrapes the internet, gets leads, and then has a Python dashboard that they can run on their computer or any device that they have, since they work from the road. So, yeah, that's all I would really say is just, it's an awesome tool for pretty much everything. You can use Python for anything.
Wonderful. Thanks, gentlemen. All right. And you'll get to see a whole lot more of them as the class goes on. They are wonderful resources. Definitely reach out if there are questions that you have. Okay. Now that you've gotten to meet Dan and Tom, I'd like you all to get to know each other. We do have some new people that have joined our class that tested out of intro. So I'm going to put you all into breakout rooms. You might either see some names and faces of people that you recognize from intro or from past classes you've taken with us, or you might have some new people in there. But either way, we'd like you to get to know each other a little bit so you have a buddy or two in class from the start. So when I put you into breakout rooms, share your name, your preferred pronouns, your location if you want, your favorite anything, book, show, food, flavor, ice cream, whatever. And then what either you're most excited or most worried about for the class. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. I'm going to pause our recording for the moment. And all right. Thanks everybody for getting to meet a classmate or two. As I had mentioned, as some of you were still in your breakout rooms getting ready to come back, you'll be seeing plenty of each other in group sessions. You'll be interacting asynchronously in communication channels. So you'll get to know each other a little bit more, but it's always nice to have a name and a face to start with. Okay. So, what is our agenda for tonight? You just met each other, you met your cohort leaders, so you know a little bit more about your class. The next big section we're going to cover is tools. I'm going to be doing a lot of screen sharing in this section, so that way you can get visuals on the tools you'll be using in class. For many of you intro grads, you are already familiar with a lot of this stuff, but for new students, you'll want to pay close attention so that way once you get access to everything on March 25th, when we do sort of the soft start to your class, and when you get access to Slack tomorrow, I'll be emailing you all invites to our Slack workspace if you are new to our program tomorrow. Then you'll want to start taking a look at things, make sure you can log in, get familiar with the tools you'll be using, find your way around, all of that good stuff. We will have the whole week of March 25th to the 31st for you to really get comfortable with everything. You can reach out to us for office hours if you have questions. So we are here to help as we kind of ease into starting that April 1st start date. Okay, the tools that we are going to cover tonight are the CTD Learns app. That is a learning platform that Code the Dream built for our students. It is how you will access your lessons, your assignments, your schedule. We'll take a look at that briefly here in a minute. Slack is our communication platform that we use. So anything that you need as far as announcements, communicating with each other online, all of that will happen through Slack. We'll play with Zoom a little bit so that way you'll be comfortable for when group mentor sessions happen on Zoom calls throughout the class. You'll know how to find your way around the different tools here in Zoom. We're also going to take a look at GitHub and Kaggle, two web-based sites that you'll be using for assignments throughout class, just so you can kind of get a lay of the land and get some visual familiarity before your lessons go more in depth on those things. And then lastly, we're going to take a look at AirHub. This is an AI review platform that Code the Dream built. It's a product we built for our students to use. It might be new to you if you didn't use it in any of your previous classes or if you're new to our program. But regardless, even if you have used it in the past, we do have some new uses that we will be covering in this presentation as well too. Okay, so let's dive right in. The Learns app, you log in using your GitHub account. There's only one way to log in. When you go to it, it'll say log in using GitHub. If you are new to our program and I do not have your accurate GitHub handle, then you're going to get a login access error. So please let me know either by email or in the chat tonight to let us know that you are having some login issues so we can investigate and get that rectified. Your access to your class lessons will begin on March 25th. The class calendar is going to show you your lessons and their due dates, and the lesson pages show you all of the content of each lesson. So it breaks it down into lesson materials, which are things that you'll want to read or review, so that way you can be familiar with the concepts being taught that week, and then coding assignments, which is how you indicate that you are grasping the concepts that we are teaching each week. All right, so let's get a visual on this. Let me jump over to my other browser. We are here on classes.codethedream.org. I'm going to drop this link in the chat so that way, oh, actually it's got all the admin handle in it too. Let me just do it right straight from here. You can feel free to play along if you'd like to. You aren't going to be able to see very much in it right now. Sorry, my link got all kinds of weird there, but it should still work and get you to where you need to go. Like I said, if you have any trouble logging in, let us know so that way we can verify. And otherwise, when you first log in, sorry, I was in the administrator view. When you first log in, your dashboard will just have a little sleeping duck because class hasn't started yet until the 25th. If you've taken past courses with us, then you'll see those in the courses. You'll also probably see your class here and it'll say begins March 25th. So just be aware that you can access old courses in this platform as well if you want to. And then resources has plenty of information about our apprenticeship, about additional resources that might be helpful in class. Or if you're starting to look for jobs, then there's some tips here as far as job searching strategies, resumes, all kinds of good things there. So feel free to utilize that resources section. An accessibility feature we have is to toggle between dark mode and light mode. So if you're working late and you need something that's easier on the eyes, feel free to toggle it to whatever winds up being most comfortable for you. Okay, let me jump back to here. On March 25th, then you will be able to start accessing your class calendar and see information about your lessons. So on the class calendar, you have a drop down to be able to take a look at general information. Learning to Learn is that week 0 information to make sure you know where to find everything. And then we have it broken into different sections, so you can jump to a particular section or concept if you need to. The calendar, though, shows you broken down by what you should be doing each week. So April 1st, you would start the Intro to Python lesson. Learning objectives will be identified at the top of your lesson page. And then lesson materials will go over all of the details of everything that you need to know for the particular lesson that we're covering. Let me keep scrolling on down. As you can see, there can be a lot of content, so be sure to pace yourself. Make sure you're giving yourself 20 hours each week to be able to look through the content. Make sure that you're understanding it. Make notes for yourself to ask mentors in group sessions or to schedule a one-on-one and address anything that you might be confused on. And then down here at the bottom, I'm getting to it eventually. Here we go. Is the assignment section. So it'll let you know what your coding assignment is, sort of what the purpose of the coding assignment is, the things that you'll wind up accomplishing. It lets you know any kind of setup you have to do to be ready for it, and then what the tasks are that you need to complete as your coding assignment. So you'll work through your tasks, making sure everything works for you, that you're understanding what you're doing. And then when you have it all done, then your continue to submission form button will turn green. And then you can submit your assignment through a submission form. Okay, let's get a quick view on one of these assignment submission forms. Bear with me a moment because I need to pull my link from a different window really quick so that way I can show it to you, because obviously our buttons are grayed out since the class hasn't started yet. Give me just a moment. I need to get to the right screen. And here we go. Okay, so when you click the green assignment submission button at the bottom of your lesson page, it will take you to this assignment submission form, and it'll pre-fill which lesson you're on. So that way you don't have to try and remember what was our topic, what week number am I on. So always use the button at the bottom of your lesson screen. Select your name, and you'll put in any of your links to your work. So for the first, for the last couple of weeks, you'll have multiple repositories that you're submitting for your work. Most of the weeks you just have the one, I believe. So it will guide you with information as far as, are you submitting one or two? Where do you put which one, if that matters? There are lots of questions in the submission form. Most of them are for us to be able to gauge, do we need to modify our classes a little bit and make 1 week easier, make 1 week more challenging? So just answer to the best of your ability. We don't track as far as like, you should have spent more time on this week. None of that's involved. It's just for us to be able to gauge on average, how much time are people spending? How is the flow of the class going? Okay. So when you're done, you'll click submit. And from there, it will take you to our AI review tool. This is a new feature this term that as soon as you submit your assignment, AI review will review your assignment, let you know if there are revisions needed or if the code is passing. So that way, immediately you'll know, am I in pretty good shape or do I have more things to work on? New feature this term. Okay, let me jump back over to my presentation again, make sure I'm not missing out anything in particular for our Learns app. Any questions about the Learns app, logging in, anything of that variety while we're getting going?
Nope, sounds good.
Okay, perfect. All right, so then I am going to share the slide deck and the recording tomorrow, so that way you all have access to that in Slack. If you're new to the program, that Slack invite will be coming to you, and then you'll see everything once you log in. So I do have some sort of visual aid slides plugged in here. So if you're referring to just like a PDF of my slide deck, then you'll be able to see, oh yeah, that's the Learns app. That's what it looks like. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about Slack, since that's what you're going to be using to communicate back and forth with each other for the majority of the class. So let me jump back over here. As I mentioned, if you're new to the program, I'll be sending an invite to you tomorrow. It will be an email coming from Slack to you, and it'll say Slack is inviting you to Code the Dreams workspace. Go ahead and accept, set up your profile, and you'll automatically be in the channels that you need to be in for your class. In your Slack account, you'll either have channels that start with Spring 26 Pi Essentials. Those are channels that just have your fellow students or your mentors or your cohort leaders or some combination of those individuals in those channels. You'll also have some that say all, like all student convo. That means everybody that is in Code the Dream is in that channel. So all student convo has the Python, the React, the Node, the intro, the Python 200 students, all in that all student convo. So just make sure you're in the appropriate channel for what you're wanting to address or the audience that you're trying to reach. When you are in your class channels, there are a lot of details and helpful tools for you specific to your class. So the first one we're going to take a look at is the announcements channel. Tom or Dan will be posting reminders for you on Mondays and Wednesdays of any important information, reminding you of what week we're starting, those kinds of details. Mentors will post in announcements if they have cancellations or changes to their mentor session schedule. Sometimes they'll post if they're starting their session to just be like, hey, anybody that's around, I'm starting a session, feel free to join. And also in this channel, besides the messages that you'll see rolling in this section, there's a tab up here that has pretty much anything and everything you could possibly need in it. So in the Python Essentials class information tab here on your announcements channel, we have helpful links to get you to the Learns app, to get you to your class calendar, for you to be able to find out who your reviewer is, or your section leader, in case you've forgotten if it's Tom or Dan. Mentor Gallery, I'll go ahead and open up this. This lets you know all of the individuals that are associated with your class that you can reach out to for one-on-one help. It'll give you rough information about where are they located time zone wise, when are they usually available, biographies, if they speak any additional languages. And then you can click here to schedule with any of them. It'll pull up a scheduling app so that way you can pick a day, pick a time, and schedule, and it'll email you and the mentor a reminder that you all will be planning to meet at that date and time for a one-on-one session. So hopefully that'll be a helpful tool. Definitely make use of it. You can schedule with whoever on here you want to. It doesn't have to be with a specific person. So anytime you feel like you need some one-on-one help, just visit the one-on-one mentor gallery, pick a person that has availability when you're free and schedule with them. It's a great resource to be able to lean on, especially if you have kind of some scheduling challenges during the week or things like that. Student handbook is in here. The AI review tool is in here. Information about our registration being in May instead of at the end of class. All of that is in there as well too. Contact information. I need to add Dan's information here as well. But any contact information for Tom or Dan will be available there. Reaching out to myself or Reed, we both handle the classes side of things. He takes care of your mentors. I take care of you all. So feel free to reach out to us if you need anything. We will be filling in your mentor session schedule as well too, as we confirm with your mentors when their group sessions will be. So you'll start seeing this table fill up. You'll have the mentor's name and the time that they'll be having their session. So every Wednesday, it'll be Bob at 3 p.m. or whatever. If there are any particular notes about things that we know in advance about them being on vacation or they're going to be changing it to a different day or something, then there will be notes available for you as well there too. Okay, questions about the class info tab or about Slack up to this point? Cool. All right, also beyond the announcements channel, which has like everything you could need, the discussion channel is where you can have conversations about the curriculum. And you all also are in an outlet channel where it's just students, Tom, Dan, and myself. So if you want to be a little bit more social and relaxed in that channel and say, hey, what's everybody doing this weekend? Or here's a little project that I've been working on that I think is cool. Feel free to socialize and associate with each other in the outlet channel. All right, that hits the highlights for Slack. It definitely takes a little bit of playing around with to kind of learn how to use it and learn all of its features. So give yourself time after you get the invite tomorrow and through the week and through that first week 0 up until the end of March to be able to look around and play with it and see how all of it works. Okay, now let me hop back over to our presentation. Be sure that you're checking it often. As another note I want to include about Slack, I recommend at least 3 times a week to be able to check it regularly. So that way you're not missing any announcements or any important opportunities. If we have like online demonstrations, mock interviews, activities like that to do online, then we'll be sharing that in announcements channels, either in all announcements or all student convo or in your class announcements channel. So definitely keep an eye on it because there could be some fun opportunities that you wouldn't want to miss. Try and include your name, Python Essentials, or you can abbreviate it PyS 26.2 in your name. We do have mentors, cohort leaders, staff members that work with students from all of the classes in the term. So including your class name in your display or your profile name helps us find the information you're asking of us quicker because we can just glance at your name and know we need to look specifically at Python Essentials stuff. Yeah, Tom, did you want to add something here?
Well, I was just going to say, yeah, make sure that your name, that we can figure out what your name is. You know, it's sometimes difficult if there's a very different name in Slack versus what's in the database or other places. Also, the same thing for group sessions, please make sure there's a way to identify you from what's going to show up in the participants list. It's hard to give credit for attendance to somebody whose name is iPhone. Yeah, because a lot of people have that name. So
exactly. Yeah. Thanks, Tom. I was just scrolling through our participants list and you all actually are really good with having your names, you know, what your names are in Zoom. So thank you for doing that. But if you ever do find that you're signed on and you're listed as like iPhone or, you know, a friend's name because you accidentally signed in under their Zoom account or something, you can rename yourself. Just click on your name in the participants list and then go to rename and you can change it so that way it reflects who you actually are. Wonderful. Okay, so primary means of communication, use your class channels for class communications. General channels are for more than just your class. Okie dokie. Another visual aid in case you're going through the slide deck afterwards. All right, so now that we're in Zoom, in case anybody's new to Zoom, since we do have students that are completely new to our program on the call, you will log in using your Zoom account. It can be whatever personal Zoom account you want it to be. It doesn't have to be an email associated with us or anything like that. But as Tom had mentioned, if your name shows up different than what we would expect, then be sure to update your name. Sessions will happen in Zoom calls. The exact same link as what you're joined to now, actually. You'll just open up that Zoom link and join whenever you have a group session. You are welcome to use the Zoom session group link when there aren't sessions scheduled in case you want to meet up with fellow students, do a little pair programming, do a little study hall. You are able to use it for that purpose if you need or want to. Sessions, the group sessions will begin starting April 1st when the technical aspect of your class begins on the first official week. You do need to attend one group session every week. We recommend attending 2 sessions every week. Our data has shown anybody that's retaking, they're much more likely to be successful if they are attending 2 sessions a week. And students in general tend to be a little bit more successful the more active and engaged and the more they're showing up to their class. Preferably cameras on when you're in group sessions or on one-on-ones, but we know that can't always be the case. So if you can't be on camera, then be engaged. You can use the chat feature to be able to be engaged. You can use reactions to be able to let the mentor know, yes, thumbs up, I'm understanding what you're saying, even though I'm not on camera or verbally engaging in the class. And then of course, audio. You can always unmute, ask questions at any point through any kind of sessions that you have. So hopefully these are helpful skills to know. Just to make sure that everybody's comfortable with where to find their tools, at the bottom of your Zoom screen, as you see in this screenshot, is where you can control the audio controls, mute and unmute, video controls to turn your camera on and off. Participants list gets you a list of who all's on the call with you. Chat you all have been using wonderfully. Thank you for doing that. They do also have a new feature of new chat at the top of the chat window. So that way, if you wanted to ask a question just of a classmate, or if you wanted to privately ask a question of the mentor, instead of having everybody see it in the everyone section, you can privately message individuals in Zoom that way. Reactions are a lot of fun to use. That's that little heart icon at the bottom to be able to give thumbs up, hearts, whatever you want to do to show that you are here and you are listening and you see what's going on. And then the share screen button is how you would be able to share either just an individual application or your entire screen in case you want to demonstrate an error that you're getting, or in case you're doing any kind of pair programming or anything like that during your sessions. So lots of great features available in Zoom just to play with them and have a little bit of fun. If you are at your computer or at your mobile device and can get to reactions and can throw up a reaction, please do it. And also please just put your favorite color in the chat too. So that way we know that you're comfortable with finding your chat and your reactions. Nice, Gabby. I do love the little party cone. Ooh, an alien from Michael. Nice. Thumbs up, Marion. Great. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Purple, yellow, blue. Great. Pink. Excellent. Ooh, yellow ochre. I like that. California gold. Great. Wonderful. Okay, so hopefully everybody's a little bit more comfortable with Zoom in case this was fairly new to you and you're kind of finding your way in. Again, feel free to open up your own Zoom on your own meeting between now and end of March to get yourself comfortable and kind of play around with it and see how things work. Okay. So your pros on Zoom now, you know, CTD Learn's app is where you can access your lessons and your assignments. You saw Slack, so you know how to talk to one another for questions that come up, how to be able to reach out to individuals that can help you throughout class. GitHub is predominantly used throughout the class for the majority of your assignments. We do have a very specific workflow to follow. Those of you coming from intro, those of you coming from other classes with our program, you'll already be familiar with this. But if you're new and it's been a little while since you've been in GitHub, or you've only used GitHub personally and you haven't used it collaboratively, we have this specific workflow to follow from week to week. So that way you start getting in good habits of how developers work collaboratively on the same body of code when multiple people are involved. So a pull pulls whatever the most recent version of your code is to your local machine. You branch so that way any work you do doesn't mess up the production or the main branch that any users could be seeing and interacting with if it's a deployed application. You work on that branch, you stage and commit and push any of the changes that you make. You create a pull request. That pull request allows reviewers to compare what was the code before, what were the changes you made, so I can make sure that you've done your work, that your work works well, and that it can then get updated back to main through a merge. And then you repeat it from week to week. So you'll get very comfortable and very familiar with it. If you are a little weak of feeling on any of the GitHub processes that you see mentioned here, get with a mentor early on and start getting comfortable with those as soon as possible. It's good to get into that sort of repetition and that muscle memory of how to do this, since you'll be using it so much, both now and after you have left our halls. Comments on pull requests are going to be feedback from human reviewers. We are backing up the AI review tool with human reviewers. So everything AI checks, a human also will be checking behind it, both to make sure that it's not going crazy and to make sure that it's telling you right. There also are some things that the AI review tool cannot assess. So building a particular environment within a server, our AI tool can't replicate that and test it to see how it's working, but it can check your code. So it will be checking your code to make sure that that looks as expected, but it can't run it in an environment to make sure that it's running the way it's supposed to. Humans are still needed for that. So whatever your human reviewer says ultimately is the final word as far as if it needs revisions or if things look good. And you do have ways to let us know if you think AI is going haywire and you need to let us know that there's something wrong about it. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But GitHub is both how you log into the AI review tool, it's how you log into LearnZap, and it's where most of your coding assignment will be doing. Okay, the other system that you use is going to be Kaggle. I did not prep this site in advance, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it up now. Tom, while I'm pulling this up, is there anything particular you want students to kind of be aware of or have on their mind as they're signing up, signing in?
I mean, I would say, you know, just sign in with your Google is probably fine. There's a few different options. What else? I could share a notebook. I think I have one around here.
Yeah, here I can stop sharing so that way they can see something a little more productive.
Yeah.
I did not have any note. Well, actually, I guess I did have a couple notebooks created, but yeah.
Yeah, why don't I just share a notebook? But, you know, one thing I would say, it's nice to set persistence of variables. It's important to make sure that your Kaggle notebook is shareable, is public. So there's a little share button. You go up in the upper right and you make it public. Those are probably the main things. It's a really cool platform for running Jupyter, which runs with a variety of different languages, which is a way to kind of mix text with programming. It's sort of executable documents, if you will. And let's see, I'll just throw this one up.
Oh, sorry. I think I wound up sharing right when you were getting ready to share. I'm sorry, Tom. Go ahead. I had finally gotten to a notebook that I had and got up to the public and private part.
All right. So this is a demo I'm working on. I'm going to probably do this a little bit later, but so here's the sharing button here. You would set this to public if you wanted to submit your lesson. You're going to just take this notebook with it set to public and share it. You can save over here. There's a save and run everything, which takes a while. There's also a quick save if you want to just checkpoint and save what you've got. Beyond that, so there are, this block at the beginning is something that you can just run and it will show what the any inputs that you've added. Sometimes you grab a data set from Kaggle. Kaggle has got tons of data sets in it, and we make use of those for some of our lessons. And it's a great place to go and explore data sets as well. And so if you run this block here, you'll see your inputs. I'm not going to do it right now. Actually, I don't have any inputs for this one. And then you can do markdown blocks, and it's just straight up markdown like you would have in a GitHub README. Also, pound sign. This is a level 1 header. This is a level 2 header here with 2 pound signs. Notably, if you do a level 2 header, you get a nice entry into the table of contents automatically. And then you have code blocks like this, where you can run them and get a result back. Usually takes a little while to start up. So I think that's probably good enough for a quick intro to Kaggle. You can actually do similar things inside VS Code, and we'll show you how to do that if you want to run your code using Jupyter inside VS Code. But Kaggle's a really handy way to share these sort of computational notebooks where you have some text and then some code mixed in with it. And you can even do plots. I don't know if the plot's not live in here right now, but one of your capstone projects will involve doing a Kaggle data pipeline.
Wonderful. Thanks, Tom. Great. So as you can see, there's lots of tools that you're going to be using. Make sure that you have some kind of system to keep track of, what did I sign in with what, where, because that can be a little bit of a challenge. If you can, be consistent with how you're signing into things, just to make life a little bit easier for you all. Okay, so we talked about GitHub. If you have any login errors for LearnZap or AirHub, then we might have an issue with your GitHub user ID. So let me know if you have any login issues as you're trying to get into LearnZap and AirHub AI review tool as we're getting set up over the next couple weeks. Okay, so for submitting your assignments, as I showed you on the lesson page at the bottom, there's a continue to submission form button. That'll be green once your classes are live and you can start submitting work. Always use that button on the bottom of your lesson page because it's going to pre-fill what lesson on your form to make it a little bit easier from that standpoint and to make sure that we have it associated with the proper lesson so that you don't accidentally submit week 5 work under week 4 or week 6 kind of a thing. So use that button for those. That new workflow is you'll immediately be redirected to the AirHub tool, which will review your work first. And if it lets you know needs revisions, then you can schedule a mentor appointment to be able to address those things right away, rather than waiting for a few days to find out, oh, my work needs revisions, what do I do? So it's just a quicker, more helpful way to kind of get you feedback on your work as quick as possible. The human reviews will overrule AI reviews because, as I had mentioned, there are some aspects that AI can't check as far as environmental things. So if a human can't run your code, but AI has looked at your code, you're going to get different answers. Okay, I am going to share that process quickly so you can kind of see what that workflow is going to look like, because that's different than what you are usually used to. So let me go ahead and I just need to plug in some information here so that way I can kind of demo it for you really quick. Let me get to my little shortcut link. Oh, hey, there we go. All right. Okay. So you would pick pick your student name to be able to submit your work. It should default with what your lesson is for the week that you're working on. The example I'm going to do is an intro to programming lesson, but you feel free to not worry about filling in the lesson because it should default to the proper one when you go from your lesson page over to the assignment submission form. Lots of things that are required that will have little red asterisks, so be sure that you're answering those so that way we can get that information to know if our classes are balanced, if things are working well as far as time spent on lessons and all of those kinds of things. When you click submit, that's when it's going to let you know that you're getting redirected to AirHub. So you just give it a few moments and it'll automatically redirect you there. If you aren't logged in, you'll need to be logged in order to be able to have it process everything properly. So it'll let you know, hey, there was an error with this because you weren't logged in. And I think I probably am getting this error because I submitted under a different student than who I am. So if you get a no feedback available, let us know so that way we can investigate and see what's going on with it. Otherwise, the information you get at the top will either be assignment successful or assignment needs revisions. Regardless of whether it needs revisions or is successful, you should get some feedback about your assignment in this section here. If it says needs revisions and the stuff it's telling you is like, what? No, that's not right. Then the the button that's here that says no feedback available will be report incorrect feedback. So you'll click the button to be able to let us know if the content that you got back, the feedback you were getting from the AI review tool, doesn't make any sense. The chat feature that's right next to it also is one that you can interact with, and it can reference the feedback it gave you. So if it numbers out items of things that are incorrect with your work, then you can say, tell me more about number 3. And it will reference, oh, okay, number 3 is where I was mentioning about this particular aspect. This is what's wrong with that. You know, be sure that you're considering this. This needs to support this type of code here, whatever the answer is. All of your submissions will be available through the history tab. So you can always take a look back at when you submitted and if they were needs revisions or if they were assignment successful. You can also see information in your stats as far as for the class that you took. You can look at a specific lesson and see what was the feedback that I had for that. Did I have successful submissions for it? Have I turned in? How many have I turned in? How many have been successful? So lots of good information on your stats. And it also will have quiz stats for you available there as well too. So that's sort of a quick rundown of the new assignment review submission process. I also want to show you quickly what the quizzes are going to look like as well too. We are beta testing them, and so there might be some weeks we don't have them in place. There might be some weeks we do. If there are quizzes available, please take them because the beta testing information will help us know, is this tool working properly and is it being helpful for you all? So for example, let me go to, no, hold on. Let me log out and log back in because I think something got a little screwy with that. I have to go in through the, oh man. Oh, you know what? I bet they're working on it and made an update. Here we go. This will be a good example. Okay. This is the administrative part. What you will see will be a purple button that says go to quiz for a particular lesson for your class. So if a quiz is available, there'll be a go to lesson or go to quiz button that you can click. It'll let you know that we want you to do your best without referring to tools, just using your own brain power. So you check the box, start your quiz. It'll present you with whatever the question item is, and you can answer to the best of your ability, whatever you think that answer is. If you get it right, it'll say, excellent, good job, and it'll give you information. If you missed it, it'll say, not quite, here's a hint, consider this. And then you can answer a second time. So all of the questions, you get 2 attempts at answering correctly. If you get it right, great, green checkbox, good to go. If you don't get it right, it'll mark it as wrong. You can retake quizzes up to 3 times. So feel free to repeat them if you need or want to get a higher score, to see how it works, all of those kinds of things. If you decide to exit the quiz before you're done, then it will let you know, it'll mark anything that you haven't already gotten right as incorrect. So just be aware of that. But that's the quiz feature. Please make use of it because it'll really be helpful for us to be able to see how well this tool is working. Is this tool working? And it's great for you all because it's a short little comprehension check. The quizzes shouldn't be any longer than about 5 questions on any given week, so it should not be a huge time commitment for you. Okay. So let's go ahead and dive back into our presentation, keep chipping away at this huge mass of knowledge that we're trying to impart. Okay, we covered submitting assignments. Use that green button at the bottom to be able to access that assignment submission form. When you submit it, it will process it through the AI review process tool. Okay, AI policy. Good news, intro grads, you can now use AI for a little tiny bit of code if you want to. If you are using AI to write or refactor very small portions of your code, the vast majority of your work still needs to be work that you have written. If you are using AI to write any nuggets of code, then you do need to comment in your code. This was written by AI. This was the device I used for it. This was why I used this here, as well as including that information when you submit your assignment. So per our AI policy, leave a comment in your code and in your assignment submission form that credits the AI tool you use and explains how you used it if you're using it. And the majority of your work needs to be by you. It cannot be AI written. There are tells. We will be able to tell if there's sections that are written by AI, not by you. We recommend turning off any AI-powered tools like autocomplete or Copilot. If you're not sure how to do that, talk with mentors early on in the class. If you start writing your code and things are being pre-filled, or you can like tab through the way you do in email messages and it puts text in for you, those are things that you'll want to turn off. So talk to a mentor about how to do those things. If we do find you in purposeful, intentional abuse of using AI instead of learning things for yourself and demonstrating your knowledge, then you can get expelled from the program. So let that be a warning to you, and make sure that you're not letting AI cut you off at the knees. Okay. The ways we do want you to use it, because that's all the no-nos. Here are all of the yes, here's how we do want you to use it, is of course using AirHub. You can use the review tool outside of the submission process. So you can have it take a look at your code just by going to the main home screen, the AirHub logo in the top left corner. Click on that, and you can also have it check things over for you even before you submit if you need or want to. But you should always be using AI like a teaching assistant. You're not going to go up to a teacher and say, give me the answers. You're going to go up to the teacher and say, I got these questions wrong on the test. Can you explain to me where I went wrong? Or you're going to say, I don't understand this particular concept. Can you tell me more about this? That's how you should be using AI as a learner. Critical thinking is key, regardless of what you're working with, how you're working with it in the tech industry. Critical thinking is going to be the most important thing that you do. So don't just blindly trust the answers from AI. Make sure you're understanding them when you're using it for small parts of your code. Make sure you're able to find it when it's wrong, because that will make you a very good potential employee. So lots of things to be sure that you are doing in regards to that. Anything else to add, Dan or Tom, that you feel I've left out in regards to AI policy stuff?
Yeah, I think that's okay. I mean, one way to put it is you want to be the person that the boss goes to when the AI breaks.
Yeah.
That's your goal.
I love it when you say that phrase, Tom, because it so clearly paints the picture. Like, don't be the robot, be the one that fixes the robot. Wonderful. Okay, so we talked about AirHub. I gave you a view on that. Chat feature works on your submissions. There's the chat feature that also works outside of your submissions if you just want to ask it questions. It uses it as the first round assignment review checker. Comments on your pull requests from human reviewers is still going to be the best way to take a look. You will still get email notifications from your human reviewers letting you know pass or needs revisions. So they do get the final word, since they're actually going to run your code and make sure that it both can run and that the code is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Okay, moving right along, we talked about the quizzes that are beta tested this term. Please help with that testing. 2 attempts at each question, 3 attempts at each quiz. Most likely not more than 5 questions in each quiz. And I just have a visual aid in the slide deck for you to be able to take a look at in case you need to reference it later. Okay, we've covered tools. Tom, did you want to do student expectations, or I'm happy to keep rolling if you need or want me to?
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of dove into that a lot in my introductory chat. So, I think again, so talk to each other, reach out to CILs. We're always happy to answer questions, schedule sessions whenever. Personally, I usually schedule sessions via Slack and send a Zoom link, but could be whatever time works for both of us. Speak up in the group sessions. I think you'll get more out of it that way. say what you're thinking, put something in the chat, and the group person can answer that. But it's great to have students work together as well. Maybe put together, we've had students in the past put together small groups where they go off and study together. And yeah, once again, you get out of it what you put into it. So, dive in there and have fun. Maybe even do some of your own projects on the side with what you've learned. So, yeah, I guess that's all I would add.
Wonderful. Anything else to add to it, Dan, or you're just in agreement?
Yeah, I agree. I think, but the engaging with mentors, like in those group sessions, as a mentor doing group sessions, it makes it so much more fun.
Yep, you get a lot more out of it the more proactive you are in your learning. So throughout, we do have a Slack communications guideline that's in that class information tab that I'll also be sharing early next week. So that way folks can see it and be familiar with it. But in general, this is a place of respect. We want to respect each other where everybody's at. We want to support each other. So having that mutual respect for each other, communication. If you don't speak up that there's something wrong, how's anybody going to know that something's wrong? Academic integrity, your work should be your own. If you're using resources, cite those resources as far as using AI. Educational engagement is key. The only person who's going to learn this curriculum is you. AI is not going to learn it for you. It might build things for you at your command, but it's not going to learn it for you. It won't put it in your head. So be engaged. Ask one another questions. All that's good stuff. Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I was just saying, this is a safe place, so there should be no question that you don't feel comfortable to ask. This is a place to try things, learn things, experiment. You learn by making mistakes. Don't worry about that, and don't worry about asking any kind of question.
Exactly. 150,000% what Tom just said. You are very likely to face challenges. Anytime you're learning something new, you're going to face challenges, and that's a whole part of the growth process, and that's perfectly normal. So let us know. We are here to help. Things that will let us know that maybe you can't be engaged in class anymore is going to be if we don't see assignments turned in, if we don't see session attendance happening, if we don't get responses when we Slack message you for a 2-week period, we're going to assume something has happened to you, and we're going to worry a little bit too. But we'll also assume that maybe you're not in a situation to be able to respond to those things, and so you just need to leave the class at the moment. So no communication for 2 weeks means you'll be dropped from the class. 2 weeks is basically 20% of this 11-week class, so a fifth of your class. That's why it's really important to speak up and stay on track as best you can, because if you're 2 weeks behind, you're a fifth of the class behind. That's a big jump. You have lots of go-to resources. You can schedule one-on-one meetings with mentors. You can message your assignment reviewer with questions about their feedback, attend group sessions, watch any recorded group sessions. We do have a repository available in that class information tab of past sessions that have been recorded on topics by week. So if nothing else, take a look at a recording. Message your cohort leaders or your assignment reviewers or mentors with questions. Take a look in the student handbook. If you need an answer to a question, it might be in there. If you're falling behind or you're starting to get off track, make a catch-up plan. Like carve out the time to be able to make sure that you have the time to be able to get yourself back on track. And definitely communicate with Tom or Dan or myself if anything's going awry, so that way we can either get you additional resources to get you back on track, or we can take a look at what your options are as far as maybe delaying and repeating the class later when life settles down or things like that. We know that things come up. So it's totally okay. No judgment, no shame. Just let us know so that way we know how to help. If you are needing to ask for help, try to solve the problem yourself first, because that's where a lot of great learning can happen. Research online, take a look at documentation, experiment to see what happens if you change your code to do this versus that. When you reach a point where you're like, yeah, no, this is beyond me, provide clear and specific information when you're asking for help. So this is what I did. This is what's not working. I've tried this and those things didn't work. Copy and paste sections of your code. Include all of the relevant details to be able to help, so that way you can get answers quicker and there's less of the back and forth of, I need help. Well, what do you need help with? Well, I need help with this. Okay, what about that are you needing help with? Did you get any errors? It just gets very tedious to have that back and forth. You'll get quicker answers, more effective answers if you share all the information. Communicate professionally. Just being like help or I don't know what I'm doing is very vague. Being more specific is going to be key. Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Well, I was just going to say, let the mentor get their hands on your code somehow. I think one option, well, Kaggle, it's easy, or even with GitHub, push up the branch that you have with all your code and point the mentor at that, and then they can really get their hands on it. It's a lot harder to try to, do a call and, it's like if you've ever looked over somebody's shoulder while they're typing and tried to help them, it can be less productive.
Yeah.
So yeah, let the mentor get their hands on your code. Then you can put a call together, walk through things.
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Tom. Okay. All right. So that's what to do if failure is happening, right? But what are you going to do to be able to thrive? Already get in that mindset of, I'm going to succeed. I'm going to do great in this class. And that will help kind of buoy you and support you through the class. The biggest thing is keep showing up. When you stop attending sessions, when you stop taking the time to sit and be with your lesson materials, to be with your code, then it's going to make things infinitely harder. So show up for the sessions, show up to give yourself time to be able to work with the materials and work with the code. Attending 2 mentor sessions a week instead of the required 1 session a week is a great way to thrive and to really show up and do what you need to do to be able to solidify your learning and make sure that you're looking at things from all angles and getting a solid comprehension on stuff. Follow your study plan to fit that 20 hours a week of classwork in. Maybe some weeks will be a little bit easier. Maybe some weeks will be a little bit harder. So account for that and give yourself a little bit of buffer room on either way. If you have weeks where you're using less time, be kind to yourself. Do something fun for yourself. All right. If you do fall behind, and it's been a short-term issue, so maybe you just had an injury, you had a sickness, you're better now, or they changed your work shifts for 1 week, but now you're back on your regular work shifts, things like that, then make a catch-up plan, stick to that catch-up plan to be able to get yourself back on track. A catch-up plan is a form that we use. If you are behind, Tom or Dan will send it along to you. It's just a concrete tool to help you stop for a minute and actually think, like, look at my calendar and say, all right, here's where I have extra time to be able to give myself the time I need to get myself back on track. So if you are falling behind, they'll send a catch-up plan to you and it says, give yourself a deadline, lesson 2 by this date, lesson 3 by this date. And it's just a more tangible way for you to be able to kind of hold yourself accountable and gauge for how you're going to get yourself back on track. If you can't make your catch-up plan, that's okay. Like sometimes your best laid plans come crashing down. You might think it's going to take you 3 weeks to accomplish your goal, and then it winds up being 5 weeks and you're still only midway through your goal. That's okay. If you fall behind and you need to take a leave of absence, that's okay to do. Talk to Dan or Tom or myself. If you're encountering things in your life that are just insurmountable or you don't know when they're going to be alleviated, that's fine. You can reapply in the future. Nobody's blacklisted here. Nobody's going to be like, oh, you didn't finish Python your first try. It's okay to step back and be like, I need to take care of myself. I need to take care of my family, and then come back around once life has settled down. We're not intending on going anywhere. Code the Dream is intending to stay around, and we're doing everything in our power to be that way. So yeah, come back to us whenever life is good to go. If you're dropped from the class, that's because you aren't communicating. We're not hearing from you. We don't even know what's going on, but we know that we're not seeing you showing up for sessions. We know that we're not seeing you turning in assignments. That also will not blacklist you from a class. You are allowed to reapply for the course in the future. You'll have to restart the course from the beginning and just make sure that you're getting your ducks in a row for your next attempt. Okay, if you do have one of those weird short-term things and it was just something that was too hard to bounce back from, you were sick with the flu for a week and a half and everybody in your house was down with it and you just couldn't catch up because it just got you too far behind and you had trouble catching back up. That's okay. You can petition to continue. So if you've had a short-term issue and it's resolved and you'll be able to restart next term in July, that's fine. We'll send you a petition to continue, and that way you can say, hey, this time just didn't work out for me. Let me start over in July. It'll be better for me that way. We'll send that along to you. Treat it like a fresh start. Redo your assignments, start fresh with your class in July, and go on through and succeed. Okay, so hopefully that's pretty clear about student expectations. If you have specific questions or want to talk about any of that, feel free to reach out to us. And then finally tonight, we're going to cover your resources as just a review. So the external tools you have are going to be Slack, Zoom, Google Meet, or Slack huddles to be able to meet with individuals for one-on-one mentor sessions. GitHub, Kaggle, all of those are external tools that aren't owned by Code the Dream, but they are tools frequently used in the industry that are helpful, and we're kind of helping you get comfortable with using those kinds of things. Our internal tools that we have made ourselves are the LearnZap and AirHub for AI guidance, assignment review, quizzes, hosting all your lessons and assignments. So lots of tools to keep track of, but also hopefully ones that'll be helpful for you. For resources, you have a lot of people available to you. Your one-on-one mentors are in that gallery that I had showed you earlier in your Slack announcements channel. You do not have to schedule just with the person who is assigned as your reviewer. You don't have to schedule just with a group's mentor that you've seen. You can schedule with anybody you want. If you need to cancel last minute, please communicate like we've talked about several times tonight. Let them know, hey, something's changed, something's come up. I need to just not do my session. I'm sorry, I'll reschedule, kind of a thing, but have the respect to communicate that. Group mentors, that schedule's at the bottom of your class info tab on class announcements. And you'll use this same link to join your group mentor sessions. That link is also available in the class information tab. Some sessions might be recorded and added to the gallery as we're going through class. Some recordings might already be in there from when we piloted this class last term. So feel free to utilize recordings if you can't make a group session and you can't make a one-on-one session. Assignment reviewers, you can see who your assignment reviewer is in that same link I sent you earlier where you were able to see if you are with Dan or with Tom. We don't have the data in there yet because we are still onboarding and finalizing things with our mentors, but that will be filled in between now and April 1st. So that way you can see who your reviewer will be. It may change over the course of the class if a reviewer has to step back, if they've had something change in their lives, or if a reviewer is had students that had to drop from the class, then we might shuffle people around. So you can always see in real time who is your assigned reviewer using that link. And of course, your cohort leaders who have been so wonderful, and I just love them both, and you're going to love them both because they're great people and they're great educators. So use them and ask them questions if you need to. They are very helpful and very accessible. And that hits the highlights. Anything that I forgot, gentlemen, that you would like to share with your students before we go into question and answer?
Not
I don't know.
really. I just,
Oh, go ahead.
oh,
Sorry,
go ahead.
Tom.
I was going to say, just one comment. It's, you don't have to schedule with your reviewer, but it can work out really nicely to chat with your reviewer about their review, right? That, they're, as opposed to someone else. If you establish a rapport there, that can be kind of a nice thing to do.
And I was just going to say, like, imposter syndrome is a very common thing. So a lot of people just get overwhelmed. And just remember, that's every one of us, right? Every one of us feels that. I feel that on a daily basis still, right? So it's okay. Just push through that stuff. And the struggle in learning is what makes you memorize things. So just remember that, like, do not give up on yourself, please. Just power through.
Yep, you come out stronger on the other side. Okay, any questions from students that weren't addressed? Anything you'd like me to kind of review and re-demonstrate for you in the last 10 minutes that we have, so that way I can make sure you feel pretty solid?
No, good to go, I think.
Wonderful. Good, good. All right. And of course, you might have questions that come up after the fact too, and that's fine. You can definitely reach out to us if something pops into your head over the next week or two. We are around. I'm going to skim the chat really quick in case there was any questions that we had missed. Yes, a human does still review your assignments after the AI review. And so Kaggle will be used for some of your assignments. They call them notebooks. It doesn't mean that it's like a notebook that you would use to take notes during mentor sessions or things like that. It's a term for sort of a collection of data, and how that data is being worked with, I guess, is the best way I'd describe it in sort of a high level definition. There will be lessons that give you more details on Kaggle, how to use it. And Tom also shared an answer in the chat too. But yeah, that's perfect. A document containing executable code and graphics. Wonderful. Thank you, Tom. I knew you'd define that better than I would. Awesome. Great. Okay. Well, I'll still hang around in case there are any burning questions that wind up showing up either in the chat or verbally with us here on the call. But we will be seeing you all around. We are available if you have any questions, and I hope you all have a great night. We'll be seeing you in class. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
You
All
too.
right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Friends. I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording too.